Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 1 of Late Night Conversations
Yes.
podcast episode
We're so excited.
1.
Yeah.
I'm Caleb Knight, your host. Stephanie Knight, my wife. We've been married for 25 years. We are pastors.
Yes.
We love being married. We love helping people that are married or that want to get married or maybe have been in a rough patch and, looking for some tools and some things to help get you through that season. We have 4 kids.
Yep.
1 grandson. We have a construction company.
That's right.
And we got a lot going on, but this is something we love to do.
That's right. And we stay pretty busy, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But we made it. Episode 1.
Episode 1. I'm super, super excited.
This is actually a year in the making.
Yes. We're happy to come together and just discuss some practical tips that will help you thrive in your marriage. And actually, that's what this episode is all about. That's what this podcast is all about.
Yes.
We created this podcast out of our hearts, just to see marriages thrive. And so today we're going to be talking about a really something that happens in a lot of marriages, and it's basically...
Give them the title.
It's why marriages drift even when it feels like nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
So, and today we're going to be talking about just some practical tips on how we can prevent that from happening, maybe, if you are experiencing that. And just...
What it looks like.
Yeah, and what it looks like.
What does it even look like?
Yeah, because I want you to know that even good marriages have a season where there could be some drifting.
Yeah.
So why don't you kind of expound on that a little bit?
I think that we have to understand in relationships, seasons are important. I think that's one of the things that we've got to understand. And drifting doesn't have to be a season, but we can feel that pull away from each other easier in certain seasons of our life. And
That's
so
right.
I think that one of the things that kind of happens in relationships that causes that drift is we're just not intentional about spending time with each other and about prioritizing time with each other, conversations with each other. And I don't know, the way I kind of see the drift taking place is it's kind of like a plane.
Yeah.
Going out of DFW Airport. We're in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And if we were going to fly down south to Houston and that plane was 1 degree off, it's not this huge thing. Drifting is not this massive, thing. It's so small and slight. And that plane, if it's just 1 degree off, by the time it flies miles in the air down to Houston, it's actually not going to be in Houston anymore.
That's right.
And I think that's a great picture of what happens in marriage when drift happens. You start, it's just so slight, but then we end up in 2 different worlds, in 2 different locations, wondering how did we get here?
That's right. And we look at each other and, we're just so confused, but then, you love each other and you want to be with each other, and that's not the issue. But you just feel some distance.
Yeah.
You feel some distance in your relationship. And I can remember a time in our marriage where we felt kind of, this mutual distance. And
Well, let's be honest. Ladies feel it either first or they feel it. They feel it more. They either feel it first or they just feel it more. Guys, sometimes we're just unaware. Well, I mean, it's not even something we're thinking about.
And so with us, it was when the kids were younger, and I had the awesome privilege of being able to be a stay-home mom with our kids. We had 4 kids, and so he went and worked.
So I had a job, and a lot of people say, well, the stay-home mom, she doesn't have a job, but
I had a job.
4 kids is a job.
Yeah. Yes. Even now that they're older, it's still, it can still be a job sometimes. So, yes, but I love it and I wouldn't have it any other way. I love my babies. But I just remember that season of life that there was some distance. And it was really hard for me because, you know, let me just paint you a quick picture. I mean, we're at home, kids, toys everywhere, kids, you know, everything is just kind of chaotic, kids running around. And so all day you're loving and serving on your children. And so when your husband gets home, you long for that kind of conversation but maybe he gets home and he's exhausted
Yeah.
from working all day. And
Short answers.
And short answers.
Wife is craving adult conversation.
Yeah.
Husband walks in the door. Mm-hmm. How was your day? And the husband's response is,
fine.
Fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, that just begins to happen over and over again. And like I said, it was when the kids were a lot younger that I noticed this. And so it just began to wear on me, you know, and you could just feel this natural distance, this natural just pulling apart, and you don't know why, because you're not fighting necessarily. You don't
hate each other.
You don't hate each other. You love each other. You want to be with one another. So that's not it, really. But you can just feel there's just a distance, and distance also can create tension, because all of a sudden you could get upset easier because you feel distant, because you feel maybe left out of the picture a little bit. And so, you're looking for someone, you know, to blame for that. And so you start playing the blame game with each other, and it's a whole big thing. But we started noticing that. I had a conversation with him and I was like, hey, you know, I'm feeling a little, you know, distant or whatever. And it was something that we really had to focus on and create some intentional time.
Yeah. And I think, guys, we just have to be aware of that. We have to be, you know, there's a heavy burden oftentimes for a man that is the sole provider of his home, and not to minimize. And I think that's one of the lessons is, it's not like whose life is harder.
No.
I mean, you can't play that game.
Yeah.
Your life was just as hard. A guy's life is just hard in a different way because he's got the weight of the financial, you know, provision for the family on his shoulders. And then sometimes, you know, if he's not bringing work home and continuing work, you know, when he should be present with his wife and kids and family, then he's just kind of checked out. I mean, maybe, God forbid, a grown man playing video games when he's at home at night with a family, or maybe just, you know, scrolling on Netflix and watching your own shows. And it's just this, you're living in the same home.
Right.
You love each other. You care about your future together. You just drifted.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just space. And the longer you go in the marriage, the more years you get down the road with this 1 degree drift, the wider that separation. And by the time the kids are grown and out of your house, 20 to 30 years, maybe 40 years, depending on how many kids you have, you look at this other person and you say,
Who are you? Yeah. Exactly.
And you didn't intend for that to happen.
No one intends for, you know, drifting to take over their marriage.
Which means the only way that we can actually reverse the drift is to be intentional.
Right. And so with that, our context at that time, so like I said, we had 4 kids. And so finding a babysitter was a little bit difficult for us. And so we had to just be intentional with, okay, so we can't go out every weekend, you know, we can't plan for date night every weekend, but maybe we can start with just once a month. And so Prioritizing the once a month was a game changer. So the first thing that had to happen was we had to have a conversation.
And on that,
Yeah.
especially in that season of life, once a month is probably like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like if you can't do anything else, not once a quarter, not once every month, once a month.
Once a month. And so we were able to do that. And so the first thing we had to do, though, is to have a conversation. We had to acknowledge that there was this drifting that was taking place. And then after that, we had to put a plan together on how we were going to solve this issue together.
Yeah.
With realizing that it's not either person's fault. It's just a natural thing that takes place in the chaos of life, the busyness of life. And so we got a babysitter for once a month, and literally that helped us so much because it helped me feel back included, in the marriage and his life. And, I remember the first couple times that we did, it was a little awkward because we were like, okay, what do we talk about? And then you make this rule of, okay, we're not going to talk about our kids.
Can't talk about kids.
We're going to talk about church. We're
work.
not going to, yeah. But it's so hard because you realize just how the drift was created, because when you take all of those things out of the equation, you're like, okay, this is why now I see why we got here, or how we got here.
The crazy thing about that is before the kids and the jobs and the house and the bills, if you were like us, you would talk on the phone for hours.
For hours, yes.
We're old enough to talk on landlines.
Yes.
For hours.
That's right.
You would fall asleep listening to each other breathe.
Yes.
And
I remember
then you
that.
get married. The dream comes true. It happens. You're developing and creating this family together. And
yeah. And it just happens. Yeah. But that was a game changer for us. I mean, it sounds so simple and so minute, but honestly, I think that coming together and first thing is realizing it, but then putting an action plan together on how we can, prevent this from going forward, that was a game changer for us.
Right.
So just being willing to listen to each other's hearts and hear each other out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
I think, as we're talking about this, sometimes relationship advice and relationship, if you need some coaching or some professional counseling, whatever it might be, sometimes it can get really tense.
yeah.
People don't want to do it. But I think it's important that we really settle this one thing, and everyone knows that drifting doesn't mean failure.
That's right.
Listen, it's something that everyone can experience, and more than likely, everyone has.
Yeah.
Because there's so much coming at you in life. You're doing all these things. You've got all these responsibilities, and you just forget the main thing.
That's right.
Because you're trying to do all these things because of the main thing, but then you forget about the main thing.
Because the truth is, if we're not healthy in our marriage, then how can we expect that to flow down into creating this healthy family?
Yeah.
And so when you prioritize your marriage, you're prioritizing your overall family, to be healthy. So that's the importance of acknowledging where you are, acknowledging the season that you're in, embracing it, and working through it. And so that is just a simple little tip. But then also, we also acknowledge that maybe, you have felt this distance for more than a week, a month, a year. You've felt it for several years. Well, if you have felt drifting for several years, then it might be a good idea to just go ahead and seek, wisdom and counsel from a good marriage therapist and to see if you could, talk about why this drift has happened and then come back together.
Yeah.
Because if it's taken this long to realize that, then it might take a little while to mend it. And so...
Because it can happen in a week. You just get busy and you just haven't connected. It can happen in a month.
Yeah.
It's just the activities keep coming. Everything keeps coming. It can happen in a year. After a year, there's a wider separation. There's a wider gap. After several years, you might a vacation's not going to probably fix that gap and close the distance.
No.
You might need real professional help.
Yeah.
If not, you'll Band-Aid it,
That's right.
and then you'll keep the separation. You'll fix the 1 degree, but then life starts, and then you're back to the 1 degree off, and it's just a vicious cycle that's repeated.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
And so, but one of the things that, we have to remember is what we don't tend to, we lose.
Yeah.
And so the importance of just acknowledging all of that.
I love that statement.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I love that statement is the first marriage in the history of mankind took place in a garden. The first marriage took place in a garden. So you got to tend to your relationship.
That's right. That's right. And it's just part of keeping your marriage healthy.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, what about some practical things? We're coming to the end of episode 1. What about some practical things we could share with them this week?
So this week, we want you guys to ask each other this one question. What do you miss about us? Just look at each other when you have some, time, maybe after dinner, maybe after you put the kids in bed. You just look at each other and just ask each other this one simple question. What do you miss about us? And then the other part of conversating is listening. So while one spouse is sharing their heart, the other one listens and truly take in what your spouse is saying. And so,
Because listening is not waiting to respond. It's hearing what they're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes, let's be honest, we're just waiting to respond.
Yeah.
We're letting you talk. We stop talking so you can talk, so we can just respond back with something that doesn't help, with the whole listening. We're just kind of avoiding. And so that's really good. That's really good. That's really good.
So that's your to-do this week is ask your spouse, what do you miss about us?
So the drift, man, that's the drift.
Yeah.
You can stop the drift. You can stop the drift. Be intentional. Have conversations. Have some alone time, date night, whatever. If you've got kids, if you're in that season, let your kids know this time is for mommy and daddy. You can't interrupt us.
That's right.
That's what it is.
And if this conversation resonates, it's because a lot of couples are living here. And that's why we're creating this space called One Night for Us. It's a simple, intentional night to reconnect. And we are hosting this night on February the 21st from 6:30 to 9. And it's free.
Yes.
And there's going to be food.
Yes.
And if you want more details about this event, check the show notes. We'll have the link to register in the show notes.
Episode 1
Episode
is in
1.
the books.
Yes.
Episode 1
High five.
is in the
We
books.
did it.
Way to go, partner. Way to go, honey.
See you next time.
You look so pretty on camera.
Thank you.
See you next time.